Hey everyone, Matt Carter here with Park Bench, and I'm your local ambassador for East London. Today I'm here with David Thuss. He is one of the founding worker owners here at London Brewing Co-op. So thank you, David, for taking the time today.
Oh, thank you.
So just start off by telling everybody a little bit more about what London Brewing is and what you do here.
Sure. So London Brewing Cooperative is a worker cooperative. So it's a worker-owned cooperative, meaning it's a brewery that's owned and operated by its employees. So our motto of worker-owned and locally grown is really exactly what it is that we're doing. It's why we're doing what we're doing. So we source locally and we are run democratically. So for us, we're producing beers that are of Ontario, so we're sourcing the ingredients locally so that we can produce a truly local craft beer and not just one that's made here, but that's grown here. That's really important to us.
That's awesome. So, I mean, I guess you just kind of touched on it, but there's lots of local craft breweries in the area, especially in Oldies. It's kind of a hot spot right now. But what kind of separates you from the rest of the herd?
Yeah, I think what's really great about London's expanding beer market and Old East in particular is that we really play to our different strengths and that we have unique identities. And what we're really pushing on is to try to reframe the conversation about beer, and that it's really about how do we reconnect to the farmers, to the producers along the line, and creating work and bringing back sort of the industry that existed before, you know, mass consolidation and giant breweries, and really about having a brewery that produces labor and meaningful work and things like that. It's as much about having a great place to work and a place that you're invested in as it is about making great beer.
Yeah, and that's great. And you can kind of feel when you walk into the building here that it's all, feels very local, feels very inviting. Everything you kind of get is community-based and community-oriented, which is awesome and good feeling to walk into a building as opposed to these mass-produced places, right? So, I mean, you guys have been around for a little while, now. What has been one of the biggest changes that you've seen?
Well, the biggest change for us was when we were able to expand from our original location that was at the Root Cellar Organic Cafe. So we started there in 2014, a very small one-barrel system. So, you know, we're brewing basically two kegs at a time, to this space, a 12,000 square foot building where we increased our production 15-fold, are continuing to add in new fermenters and new bright tanks so that we can increase our production and can keep up with demand. And with the new facility brought us a new tap room. And the tap room has been stellar for us in terms of connecting with our customers, of really bringing in people to tell our story, and of making it real for them in a very different way than it is to when you buy our beer at the LCBO or the beer store. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I touched on before, it's an awesome environment. You can see all your, like all the mats and everything are kind of just open to the public. You can see what's going on. No hidden doors, nothing hidden behind doors. So it's really awesome walking into this building. So what do you think the future holds for the company? Any big changes coming up?
You know, we've been sourcing organically since we started. So, I mean, we source local, we source as sustainably as possible. And so, you know, we're working on a lot of things to promote that as well. So we have up our big board by our bar, our big board that shows, you know, where our local producers are from and what they're doing for us, and the vast majority of them are organic as well. So our malts that are coming from the Guelph area are organic malts, and it's coming from a micro maltery that was the first of its kind in Ontario, you know, working with hop producers. So we really want to bring that as well to folks to let them know that this is an organic product. So that's something we're working on, so that's going to be big. As well, we're just, you know, we're getting out there all the time. So Sunfest is coming up, and we're going to be there as one of the main beer garden sponsors, and it's always just great to see our beer in people's hands for the first time, them tasting it, and then us giving us the opportunity to tell them like why it's special and why it matters.
Yeah, and that's awesome. Having the story behind it is always great for I mean, getting in touch with the community and people connecting with you in the same level that you want to connect with them, right? So you mentioned a couple of people that are businesses that you work with, partnerships. So what other partnerships do you have in the community?
The primary two are our sister businesses, the Root Cellar Organic Cafe, located on the Dundas Commercial Corridor, and On the Move Organics, a local organic produce delivery company. I mean, those are the key ones. Beyond that, Harvest Hop and Malt, which is the micro maltery up in Guelph. You know, we think of some of the original farmers we've worked with, Carolinian Hop Yard, also new malteries that are now, of course, we have Backroads Brews and Shoes as a hop producer, the Rumbouts who operate Hopkona. We've got Against the Grain, which is a new micro maltery in Sarnia.
Okay, awesome.
That's great. And then locally, working with folks like La Noisette and having their great bagel bombs here and their pretzels here. It's great. Booch, kombucha, working with local cider companies, and even, we've started doing guest taps. So we've started working with other breweries. So right now we've got Rusty Wrench from Strathroy on tap,
awesome.
Concession Road. We've sort of done a Stratford tour. We're going to have some London breweries on tap.
Beauty.
It really is a space that we're trying to create that sense of community. So allowing, and showcasing other great breweries is another great partnership that we've started doing.
That's awesome. And I mean, you just touched on it. Looking up on your board here, you got tons of beers on the list and lots of things to choose from. So how many beers do you generally have on tap here?
We try to always have 12 beers plus a nitro. So 13 beers total, as well as having cider on tap. We have wine as well. The biggest struggle is always keeping up. And being able to produce some of what we're known for is those one-off small batch beers, or like the really hyper-local, almost like our neighborhood tart, which is brewed using rhubarb that's been grown in the community. I mean, you can only make a batch so big when that's your intent. So trying to keep up with demand has been a real struggle of late, but we're meeting it. So we've increased our production capacity, and which is great.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's funny you mentioned the neighborhood tart. I remember seeing posts for you guys asking for all the rhubarb you could get in the neighborhood. We were at the Beer and Barbecue Festival event, myself and my fiance, and she wanted to try that beer. That was the first one we went over to and got a hold of, and she loved it. So.
Well, and it's great because it also reminds people, the beer is an agricultural product. Beer it's not just something that appears in your glass. Like there's grains, there's hops, and in that, there's rhubarb. It's locally grown. There's the human element to it. Sort of the Wendell Berry and the slow food movement people, and this is sort of the same idea. It's like drinking is an agricultural act, and that you're part of a process that brought this to your lips. And the rhubarb is really concrete for people. They're like, some of them who brought it in, and then they get to try the beer afterward. They're like, it's sort of like, when you make your home cooking.
Yeah,
right? Like how much more satisfying
you can contribute to it, right?
Exactly, like you're part of that process. And that's the truly local aspect, is that we're saying, like, there are people here. There are people all along this supply line and creation of this product. And it matters where you get it from. So it matters how fresh the hops are. It matters the quality of the grains you're getting locally. So, we're trying to remind people it's not just X in and Y out. We're saying, like, this is real. Like, this is a real thing, and it matters.
Yeah, and I think that's a great message, because I think it's something that I think the majority of people overlook. And like you spoke about, and you just kind of think, oh, I'll go to the pub and have a pint, and you don't actually think about how it got to you. So that's great. So I see we can get all your beers here at the co-op here. Where else can I get your beer?
Well, we're in over 40 restaurants and bars through the city and the surrounding area. So always go in, and if they don't have us on tap, ask why not. And then, LCBO locations all throughout London and the surrounding area, and London beer store locations. So, and grocery stores as well as an expanding part. So we're in more and more grocery stores. So again, if you're ever just, you're hankering and you walk in and you're like, why isn't it here? Just ask, and then it'll be there shortly.
That's awesome. So it sounds like you're in a fair amount of different places, and there's no shortage on getting it, but make sure you ask the businesses why they don't have it.
Yeah, that's right. And at the end of the day, you're going to get the most selection here, and you're going to get beers here that you just can't get anywhere else.
Yeah.
So we do have those restaurant and bar partners that get the real specialty stuff, and that's great. It's always great for them. They love it. But what coming into our space here, whether it's on a Friday night for a free concert, whether it's on a Sunday afternoon for like an acoustic set, or our Wednesday night euchre tournaments. Thursdays we do always different programming, including Dungeons and Dragons night, and we have so much stuff going on. But you can also just come and sit out on the patio, drinking the rays while you're drinking in some beer, and I don't know, it's just a real casual space. And so I think this is always the best place to enjoy it, right? It's sort of you go to the vineyard to enjoy your beer or your wine in a particular way. You come to the brewery to enjoy the beer that way too.
Yeah, absolutely. So you just touched on a bunch of events that you hold here at the brewery, and it sounds like there's not really a day of the week that something isn't happening here.
Yeah,
so
we keep it hopping.
Yeah. So don't worry about actually writing all that down. I'll post a link on the video too, where you can see all those events and everything going on, so you don't miss a beat. But what else can you do here? Could I take a tour of going through the brewery and see how everything's made?
Yeah. On Saturdays we run brewery tours at 2 and 4. So reach out to us at tours@londonbrewing.ca, or go to our Facebook or Instagram and message us, and we'll set you up with a tour. It can be as small as 2 people, as large as 20, and we take you through how we brew beer, why it's different, where we're getting these ingredients from, and sort of do some of that A/B test, tastings, like, well, this is a hoppy beer, this is a less hoppy beer, this is a darker malt, this is a lighter malt, to really give you that educational experience. To again help you refine your palate and help you really appreciate sort of what's going on there. So we do tours. You can also just come in and relax. We've got board games if that's your inclination. We've got some pinball machines, some classic pins. Nice. Kids love them, as do adults. But it's sort of that third space. It's that third space where we've got Wi-Fi, so you can come in here and have your afternoon office. You can also just hang out with friends. It's a real casual environment that we've tried to create as welcoming as possible for all sorts of folks. No one's excluded. You just come in and be yourself.
Yeah, no, it's great. I could definitely see myself posting up on one of those benches and just getting some work done over a few pints, right? So, well, I guess you've been around here for a while, and you're one of the founding owner workers. So what made you get involved in this company? What was the real drive?
So for us, we were really looking at ways that we could sort of actualize the community spirit that we had and what we wanted to build around. And growing off of things like the Root Cellar and On the Move Organics and what was happening there, with connecting Londoners to area growers, or the Farm to Fork movement. And we were brewing beer as well, and it all started making sense. And starting as a cooperative also made sense for our enthusiasm around the democratic process and engaging people and making sure you're involved in your decisions that are affecting your life. And so starting as a worker cooperative, brewing beers that were like hyper local, all of these things really speak to our love of our community and how we want to see engagement and how we want to engage. And it kept growing but following this sort of that line, right? That line of community orientation, so that even when we create a tap room for the brewery, we make sure it's family oriented as well, because we've got kids. We want to bring them in. We want to be able to have that space. And so for us, and why we started as, say, a cooperative and not just as a top-down structure, was really about that community engagement. When we have new folks coming in, it's part of their letter of employment saying this is also a co-op. It's expected that one day you're going to be part of the ownership group, and that's what we're working toward, and that's what we want to develop you as. And it's an ebb and flow, and it's a development. It's sort of like a courtship as you figure out how this works and whether they want to be a worker owner, and it adds an added dynamic to a workplace that you don't get everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And it sounds like it's all very community driven. It's all, everybody wants to contribute to the overall betterment of the company and the community around, right? So located here in Old East Village, just on off Eliash and Burbank here.
Burbrook,
sorry.
So just north of Dundas at the Kellogg's building there.
Absolutely. So just right in the heart of Old East Village. What are some of your favorite things to do in the community and neighborhood here?
Well, I mean, I think it comes back to community. It's like, what do I love about this space? I mean, you can't see him right now. Jim's pouring a flight for somebody, but Jim's lived in Old East. How long, Jim? You're 27 years old, right? Yeah. Your whole life? Yeah. And I mean, guys like Jim he's driven our music program. He's driven so much of the sort of the vibe around this space, helping to curate music lists and like playlists and things like that. I mean, so having those committed employees as well as community members, I mean, that's what I love about this space. So, taking a bike ride around anymore and you see people and, they want to, do the shout out and you can wave back to them. I think, it's that community, it's that Saturday morning and now Sunday morning markets. It's just getting out there, walking down the commercial strip and stopping in for a coffee, going to 1018 for a pour over and then walking down with it. It's a Western Fair in the fall. London itself is a great community. Old East is just really something special. And I think that's what makes it such a great space. Just chatting with somebody who's like, it's like, how's his brewery? Yeah. And it's just like, it's a neighborhood brewery. Everybody can walk here, and it's really about creating a space for that. So, what I love about the community and what I love doing, it's always people-oriented. It's, the soccer games that are just over on Boyle, right? And just watching the kids play and encouraging my kids who are still like, not quite.
Well, yeah, I think that's awesome. I think you hit the nail right on the head there, and I think that's a great place to end this right now. So thank you, David, for taking the time to out of your day to talk to me.
My pleasure.
And if you enjoyed this video, check out more like this on parkbench.com /east-london. Check out a lot of news, events, and other great interviews like this one, and check out what's going on in your local community. Have a great day.
All right, cheers.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching, and I hope you liked this video. If you like what you saw, go check out the website, www.parkbench.com /east-london. There you'll find a whole bunch of information about the local area, news, events, and all the local businesses, and you can check out more great interviews like this. If you know somebody that would like to be featured on this webpage, shoot me a message. I'd love to hear from you. Talk to you later.